Welcome to episode 73 of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B. Today's is a returning guest, Bernadette McClelland. Bernadette McClelland has been referred to as Australia's leading speaker on sales psychology and beyond resilience thinking. Her distinctive style has been constantly referred to the world over real. CEO of Sales Performance and Leadership Practice Company, author of multiple books, winner of the prestigious Telstra and PowerCorps Award for Business Excellence, awarded the Best New Speaker of the Year for the NSAA of Victoria, founder of Sales Mastery India. She also partnered with her longtime mentor Anthony Robbins as he led peak performance coach for the Asia Pacific region, setting a record for sales as his breakout speaker at his Unleash the Power Within event. She has also coached MBA students from Harvard University on a part of their sales curriculum, is an award-winning writer, and recently recognized as one of the 35 most influential women in sales globally. With a successful career in senior sales in Fortune 500 companies such as Xerox, Kodak, and CA, she now sits on the team for Top Sales World out of London, and is the co-founder of the Australian Sales Masterminds, elevating sales leadership capabilities. Her passion and decision to consciously make a difference sits atop a personal story of grit, focus, and personal leadership. A life-threatening illness in 2009, bedridden for a year, liquidation of the family's wholesale and importing business, bankruptcy, betrayal, the loss of her family's home, and becoming an unwilling participant in Australia's welfare system at the age of 50 made her and her husband redefine what their value was in the market and identify what people would pay for that value, completely shifting their focus and their lives. Her speaking inspires change in her audiences, whether they're corporate sales teams, associations, emerging leaders, entrepreneurs, or women's groups. And her belief is that anyone at any time and at any stage in life can achieve unprecedented business and personal growth by amplifying their human potential. And now, Cody B.
Hello, everybody. This is Cody Bateman. Welcome to a brand new episode of our Relationship Marketing Podcast. As usual, super excited about our guests that we have on today, all the way from Melbourne, Australia, Bernadette McClelland. How are you?
I'm well, Cody. How are you going on this beautiful day?
Oh, we're wonderful. I'll tell you, here in the States, we love to hear that accent of yours, and it's just so we're just gonna want you to talk the whole time. Because you just, first of all, we're excited to have you on, and our guests are gonna just love the stuff that you have to say. Not only does Bernadette have very rich content, she's just full of personality and lots of fun. And so we're gonna get some of that fun out of you today. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds pretty good. Pretty good.
So, we've already done a intro on you, but I just want to touch. You're the CEO of Three Red Folders. And you do sales leadership and coaching, a lot of different things. But one of the things that I'm real interested in your work, you're one of those smart people. You're a coach and a speaker and all that, but you couple that with high IQ and super smart stuff, and you talk about smart people stuff like psychology and psychological effect, and I love that because that's. There really is a lot to the sales, marketing, and relationship building process that is part of psychology and sociology. I mean, there's so many elements of psychology and how the human brain works that feeds into how we create relationship. So, first of all, before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
So first and foremost, priority management happening here. I am the wife of an amazing man called Tim and the mum of two amazing kids called Danielle and Matthew. So outside of that, work-wise, I'm been very fortunate in that I've had a number of years, a couple of decades actually, with a company such as Xerox and Kodak and Computer Associates. So that's allowed me a really strong baseline foundation for enterprise type sales. I'm also very fortunate in that my husband and I had a bricks and mortar wholesaling, retail and wholesaling business for a number of years, which has given me an amazing experience in the SMB space and really understanding the difference between corporate and small business, between enterprise and small business when it comes to understanding business, and especially when it comes to the sales field, which is where I'm in. And I've also been very fortunate to have begun the journey of, I guess, solopreneurship or my own business, kicking off by working with a man called Tony Robbins, or Anthony Robbins, as many would know. And that's given me a brilliant baseline and great learnings for being able to marry psychology and business. So when we look at psychology, it really is behavior. We look at behavior in business, it's critical. I then took another journey a couple of years ago whereby I worked with an organization here in regard to the brain, the About My Brain Institute. And so I began to learn how the brain fits into behavior and business as well. And that led me, when I was in the States at one particular time, to have my brain scanned, which was an amazing experience. So that then allowed me to think, okay, I do have one. And what is the impact of all of this on our results as business people? When you put together, and this is why Three Red Folders, my business Three Red Folders, we believe that the foundation for business development, the foundation for sales success, is based on sales strategy, yes, which is the business component, sales science, which is the brain component, and sales psychology, which is the behavior component. So they're the three, I guess, the winning trifecta for how we go to market here. And so that's kind of led me down lots of different paths. And as a result, I love to speak and I love to write and bring those three pillars together to help my clients to generate and create sustainable growth.
So you do a lot of speaking. Well, outside of the coronavirus and the pandemic around the world,
Yeah.
Right now you're probably doing some virtual stuff, but
Yep.
You've traveled all over the world speaking, right?
I've been really fortunate to have spoken in places like Portugal and Thailand and India and London and the States, and I'm about to virtually do a masterclass in Ireland. So for the Ireland Business Association. So yeah, I love it. And I think what it is, Cody, is they say we teach that which we most need to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing when you bring in psychology and you bring in behavior, everybody is interested in that because it's about them. And when you can tie those behaviors and you can go back, before the behavior as to what triggers the behavior. And our brain is just in a very powerful thing. And then of course, coming out of the sausage machine are your business results. So right. Everybody's interested in that, that initial sector because they use their own, they tie themselves to that.
So to kind of tie together a lot of what you just said, there's a line that's on your LinkedIn page. I went through your LinkedIn page and there's a line on there that says, be more like sales psychologists through strategy, science, and psychology. And that really caught my attention. It was like, that's where I say, okay, we got smart people going on over here. So you're saying to salespeople, don't think of yourself in terms of being a salesperson closing a sale. Think of yourself more as a psychologist through strategy, science, and psychology. And I can see how I am naturally intrigued by that line. Like I want to learn from you. Like, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this?
So, if we think about a sales psychologist or a psychologist, I guess, they focus on behavior. And and I think that sales people, sales leaders, the focus is always on the sale. It's always on a process, and none of this is negative, by the way. It is also on a methodology. It's always on a number. So there's this whole, left brain, rational, process-driven kind of focus. Whereas but when you focus on the behaviors and you think about what a psychologist is really all about, it's about behavior. You're a behaviorist. And when you understand what influences yourself, and you understand what makes you tick, and you understand why you think the way you think, why you do the things you do, and you understand that, you can then go to market and with the right questions, with the right silences, by being quiet, by asking deliberate questions and listening, not just for what your buyer's saying, but what they're also not saying. By listening and by watching and by being really aware, you can expand a conversation. You can read the buyer, and I'm not just talking about disc profiling and whether somebody's a high D or a high I, but it could be that, for example, just to give you an example of what I mean, if you're aware, if a buyer sits opposite you and nods, right? You might say something and that buyer might nod. Most salespeople would take that behavior of the buyer and they would think, yep, got it. Got it. They're on the same page as me. Right, that's going in my pipeline. When in actual fact, that buyer may just be nodding because they're hearing you.
Right.
So there's two different outcomes there. Now, if you are attuned enough and you are patient enough and you are interested enough, you may ask that particular person, what was it that was important about what you just said to them? And you're going to expand the conversation, but you're also going to be getting deeper.
So you really gotta read nonverbal a lot.
You do. But it's a little bit, yes, definitely that's a component of it. But also it's questions.
Yeah. Okay. So look, obviously questions are important because questions turn it to their needs. We talk a lot about that on this show, but you made a comment when you were saying this is you need to listen more to what they're not saying versus what they're saying. What do you mean by that? Because that to me takes a little bit of training. That's probably where you come in. How do you listen to what they're not saying?
It does. We all come to the table with different filters, with different beliefs. And what we need to do, when I say that we need to be more like sales psychologists instead of sales people, is we need to go hunting for what they believe in. So we need to become belief hunters, basically. And so when we're asked a question, we normally will answer that question top of our head. I'm going to answer this question because that's my default answer, or it could be that's what I think Cody wants me to say. And so most of us leave our conversation at the answer to that question, right?
Yeah.
And we take that person at face value. The way the brain works is that is what happens. If we ask one more question, and we may say, so Cody, you may ask me a question, I may ask you a question and you'll answer me. Now, I'm not leaving that alone. I'm not finished with you yet. I'm then going to ask you, okay, that's great, Cody. Thanks for answering that. What else? Now, by asking what else, it's almost like we're going to now keep going deeper. The brain has like a little trap door and we've now gone through our default, and now the brain cannot help but go find another question, another answer to that question. If you can ask it a third time by saying, awesome, awesome. So that answer is important to you. Great, that one. Now, is there anything else? What else can you think of? The brain is going to go deeper. Now, that is where you're going to get your real answer.
Okay, so let's have a little fun right now.
All right, let's go.
Put you on the spot. I want to put you on the spot.
Love it.
We're gonna watch you implement some of these practices.
Done.
Right. So you right now are talking to me as the CEO of Three Red Folders. You have training and different products and services that you could offer my company. I own two companies. I own Send Out Cards, which is a network marketing, relationship marketing company.
Yep.
We have incredible follow-up systems that work right from your smartphone that you can use to follow up with your clients, stay top of mind with them, and build relationships. We use network marketing as our marketing means of getting our message out to the world. We have another product called Sendogo, which is our CRM integration product. So you can run our services, cards and gifts, straight from whatever CRM you use. We integrate it through a product called Sendogo. So those are our two companies. We do conventions every year where we have people come in, a couple of thousand of our reps will come in and learn and grow. We have ongoing things that we do all the time to train our reps. We have 100 employees that send out cards that continually need training and different things to relate with our customers and relate with each other. So I would assume that we would be on your radar. We would be part of your target audience as selling training products, right? All right. So Bernadette, we're going to role play. Bernadette, how you doing? This is Cody. Man, I'm just wondering, I've got my company Send Out Cards. We have a big convention coming up, and then we're going to do some leadership retreats after the convention for people that qualify to go to those. So one will be for the general public. The second will be for qualified people, basically VIP groups that have earned their way to a certain place for higher education. What do you got to offer me? Why should I, what is it? I mean, I'm very interested in this whole, be like a psychologist instead of a salesperson. Tell me, why should I hire your services?
I don't know. I'm not going to tell you why you should hire them. I'm going to get you to see if my services fit your business objectives first.
Okay.
So let me understand something for a minute, Cody. When you talk about having your two businesses, are one of those businesses more of a priority than the other?
Our primary business is the Send Out Cards business.
Okay.
Our secondary business would be Sendogo, which is our CRM integration.
Okay, cool. So with Send Out Cards, just share with me what your objective is. Let's just run it out for the next 12 months. When you talk about opportunities for Send Out Cards, what are you thinking of?
Well, again, one of the things that we need to do is we have independent affiliates that represent us. They don't work for us. They're not employed by us. They're independent. Right. They work at their own leisure and their own time. The barrier to entry is very low. So these reps can join our team as an affiliate for under $100. That's US dollars, under 100 US dollars. And they can be an affiliate and they can represent our products, which, basically we have incredible relationship marketing systems and products that you can take out to businesses and people in their personal life. A way that you can, build a contact manager, keep notes on everybody, find out what their interests are, and have a way to send things to them. Send real live greeting cards and gifts just by a couple of clicks. And a lot of our affiliates go after their networks of people, which are small businesses. And the challenge that we have, Bernadette, is that we have a lot of people come in and they have a network marketing mindset, but they're trying to represent kind of a sophisticated product to a business. And sometimes those two things clash a little bit. So what we're trying to do is teach our independent affiliates a little bit more how to represent this relationship marketing system to a small business, and how to do what you do. How do you do that instead of doing the traditional network marketing pitch of, here, let me show you how this works, and do you want to sign up with A, B, or C, to actually assess needs. So that's what our interest would be, is how do we get that person that's not doing this full time, they're only part-time in this, they dabble their feet in the water a little bit and get a sell here and a sell there. How can you help me teach them to do these assessments, the psychology of getting to a prospect's needs?
Okay, so I'm just going to push the pause button here for a second.
Okay.
Okay, because I want to share something that came out of that. So this is just an example of what I was talking about before. I'm listening for what you're not saying,
Right.
and I'm listening for what you are saying.
Yep. Okay.
So I asked you the question of what is it in the next 12 months that is like, I guess, an opportunity that you're pursuing or an objective for Send Out Cards.
Mm-hmm.
What you have answered me with is what you don't want. Okay, so what you've answered me with is telling me what your independent representatives don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've then, toward the end, shared with me what you do want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is one example of what I was talking about before, because for any of us to move somebody, or for any of us to move anybody into a place of taking action, we can't do it from what they don't want. We need to move them to what they do want.
Okay.
Now, some people, you might ask, so your independents, that your salespeople that are listening to this, your members, will probably be asking, more than likely, or hopefully asking the question of their potential buyers, what is it that you want for your business? Most of the world will say, well, what I don't want is, I don't want my people going to market and just talking about product.
Mm-hmm.
So most people answer in that respect.
Yep.
And most salespeople will then go straight into product. But what we've got to listen to is we've then got to say, okay, these people are telling me what they don't want. I'm going to need to move them to what they do want, so that we can continue that conversation and find out what the gap is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Now, I want to, it's very intriguing, and I'm with you 100%. And I want to get more into that, get them to what they do want. But I also want to challenge you a little bit. And let's go to Tony Robbins. You've got a lot of experience with Tony Robbins. One of his famous quotes is, fear of loss is a bigger motivator than a desire for gain.
Absolutely.
So copywriters are taught to find out what people don't want. They're taught to find out what people's pain points are. And then they write to the pain points. They write to, if you feel like you're 20 pounds overweight, that's a pain point. Here's a pill, and it'll help you lose the 20 pounds. See, so I think that's why weight loss products sell so well online and through network marketing, is because it's super easy to see the pain.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I'm overweight by 10. I got to lose 10, you got a fancy pill for me. And they say, yeah, of course we do. It's the best, it comes from some whatever plant out of flippity flop underneath the sea kind of thing. And so I'm compelled to take it. So on the one hand, you've got to get to the fear of loss. So my fear of loss right now is a whole bunch of independent reps that go out and throw up all over people, trying to convince them to, here, just use this product, versus assessing what their needs are and telling it the right way.
Yep. And that is 100% correct. And so it's important for us to understand, the challenges and the issues that every business is going through, or any individual is going through. Absolutely. What's also important is that not everybody is driven by moving away from pain. You know, we've also got to realize that we've got to get to the benefits at some stage.
Right.
But salespeople are taught to sell benefits.
Yes.
And if you go into a potential buyer and you start to talk about the benefits of your problem, of your product, and you're doing the right thing because sales training's taught you to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't addressed any form of issue, then that's where they're going to nod.
That's right.
And never call you back. So it's really important that you address both. Now, the flip side of that is that people are taught to, got to go find the problems, got to find the challenges, and they hang off the challenges only. So if you realize that most of the population are driven by a need to move away from some kind of pain, you've also got to bring them toward some kind of pleasure. So the weight loss is, yeah, absolutely, they're focusing on the fact that, you know, you can't fit your jeans, and it's all relatable stuff, because people will nod and they'll go, yeah, that's me. Then you've got to move them toward some kind of understanding of where they want to go. Mm-hmm. And the language that forms part of that, and this is where the brain comes into play. You know, there is so much that is happening around you and I both now. There are billions of bits of information that are in our orbit as we speak now. For example, Cody, did you realize that you just blinked? Did you realize your heart just beat? Did you realize the hair on your wrist just moved? You know, there's particles of dust that, forget the birds out there that we'll probably start hearing. So there's all of this data that's out there, but we cannot process it in one. It's like plugging every cable TV into one TV. It's just not going to work. Mm-hmm. So our brain will delete information, it will generalize, it will do all of this. And then from there, we will either see, we use our senses, we either see stuff, we hear stuff, we feel stuff, taste stuff, smell stuff. And so our brain will marry all of this together and form stories, form events, which is why what is reality to you is your perception based on your experiences, your childhood, the events that you remember in your life, you know, the food you eat, all of that type of stuff. So when it comes to sales, we have to realize also that our perception of what is happening, our perception of the answers that our clients give us, is based on our reality. And in total respect to our buyer, they have their own brain-based process that becomes their reality. So we have to respect each other's opinions. So what's important in tapping into the brain is to be able to say to your buyer, okay, Cody, let's go 12 months down the track. So within this 12 months, you now have a team filled with independent representatives who have had training on how to influence their buyer in the most ecological way. Tell me, as the owner of Send Out Cards, what are you hearing your team members say about the training that they've just gone through? What are you seeing them doing differently? What are you noticing about business growth? Tell me that.
So I'm assuming that they've been trained and we're 12 months down the road.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you what I would like to be seeing from them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So so in this scenario, what I'm seeing is that, again, they're more conscious of being a solution versus closing a sale. And that's what's important to me, is that anytime our product is offered in the marketplace, that's the way it's offered. What are your particular needs that we can be a solution for? In other words, that rep is creating relationship while they're closing the sale. They're not doing the sales process to get the sell. They're doing the sales process to create a relationship. So that's what I've noticed. The difference is now that they're much more conscious to assessment. They're a lot better at assessing need, and then they tailor their presentation based on the actual need of that person. And we've seen a dramatic shift in that, which has really helped our sales and helped in the relationships that our reps are developing with their customers.
Right. So this is really about relationships and profitability going hand in hand.
Correct.
So what I've done there is I've led you down a path where you can see that it's already happened. I've now got more information from you, but what I've also done is I've created it and put it into a context. I've put it into language, because business is the language of agreement. And so I've put it into language which is very high, it's contextual. And when we are able to speak that language, we both agree on it. So I've just said to you, so what we're talking about here is relationships and profitability. And you've said yes. Now, your meaning of relationships may be totally different to mine. But that doesn't matter, because we've both agreed on the context of relationships. So context is critical. Being able to speak in the language of gaining agreement is a powerful part of the sales conversation. So from there, it's a case of looking at resources available to you. So, let's look at some of the resources that are available to you so that we can have you achieve that in the next 12 months. And it's got to be ecological. So it's got to be a win-win. So yes, there's a process that I run through, but it's a loose framework, and I kind of dance within that framework. But these are the things that we haven't even talked about. Product. You know nothing about what I do, by the way, and I know so much about you.
Well, I know that you do things in terms of sales smart analysis, strategy and process, systems and resources, the sales leader role, screening and recruiting, training and coaching. I mean, you cover a lot of in-depth stuff, and it's really amazing. I really applaud you for the depth of what you offer, Bernadette. You have real depth to your content. There's a lot of trainers out there that they're showy and they're flashy and they got charisma and stuff like that. But in all honesty, from what I've seen is there's not a whole lot that have a lot of depth, and you have that. And so I really appreciate that in you. So by the way, all of you listening in, we are talking to Bernadette McClelland. She is the CEO of Three Red Folders, based out of Melbourne, Australia. She has the best-selling book titled The Art of Commercial Conversations. Now, if you're by chance watching on YouTube, you can look right behind Bernadette, and she's got a copy of her book right there on her shelf. It's beautifully done, by the way. I love the coloring, red and white. It's part of your brand. Yep. Again, the book is titled The Art of Commercial Conversations. Now, by the way, and again, you're a master of words. Maybe that's part of this whole thing. Like you're really good at your words. Like like the words on your LinkedIn page really drew me in. Now this headline to the book, The Art of Commercial Conversations. My goodness, that sends me in a whole, like, I want to
Yeah,
know what that means. Like what,
yeah.
I better pick up this book because I want to know what that means. So what does that mean?
So the art of commercial conversations is it's based on the conscious selling model. So I believe that there's nothing wrong with selling and there's nothing wrong with making money. Capitalism is a wonderful thing so long as it's conscious, so long as we are doing it for the right reasons. And we, you know, we need to be able to bring money into our businesses so that we can reinvest in our business and then put more of our business out into the world, so long as we are helping people. So the conscious selling model is, it's like a 9-square model. And if we were to go across the bottom row, we look at transactional. And transactional selling is what we've been brought up on. So we need all of these foundations. So it's hard to explain. So going across, we've got transaction at the bottom. The middle row going up is transitional, and the top row is transformational. If we go down, the first row is our approach to the market. Our second row is the focus of our conversations, and the third row is our outcome. So let's start from the bottom and we look at transactional selling. That is very much instructional. It's where we approach, we make contact, we spill our guts about our product, and we just spill out all the content that we can, and our outcome is to sign the contract. So there's contact, content, and contract. We then move up, we grow as salespeople, and the 80s taught us, you know, professional selling and spin selling. So we kind of go up to the next row, the next level, where we're transitioning, and this is all about influence. So instead of instructional, we now become influential. And we look at our approach to the market, and that is very much connecting. So we learn to connect by building rapport. The focus of our conversations is consultative. So that's very much learning how to ask the right questions. And our outcome is very much conspiring for our buyers' success. So we look at customer satisfaction, customer experience. So there, going across there, we have connect, consult, and conspire. Those of us who can move to the next level up, which is transformational, that becomes inspirational. So we go from transaction to transitional to transformational, or we go instructional, influential, inspirational. When you think about the word inspire, it's to breathe life into something. So we now want to be able to breathe life into what we are doing. We want to inspire our buyer. So what we look at there is, as our approach, we need to go to the market with conviction, absolute conviction. Our conversation focus needs to be contextual, which is what I spoke about before. It's elevating the conversation to a context. And then finally, our outcome is contribution. And the fact that, you know, we are growing by giving. And if you're not growing as an individual, you're dying, we know that. And what really gives us fulfillment is when we contribute, when we grow and we contribute. So the top level is transformational, which is, you know, conviction, context, and contribution. So each of those boxes, if you like, are chapters in the book.
Wow. So all of this is spelled out in the book. I got to believe, you know, obviously that top level transformational is the goal. That's where we all want to be.
Yeah.
And it's where it's essential for us to be with our clients, our customers, our associates, our friends in today's marketplace. We can't survive on transactional anymore. We have to to be transformational, right?
But you still need to be able to understand the processes involved in how to transact. You still need to know each one of those, and they just build on each other, I guess, as our wisdom increases.
But there was a day when transactional
Oh
in a
yeah,
lot of cases that's what people did. It was just
that's all we did.
transactional. Yeah.
That's all we did.
But
Yeah.
we're in an evolving society now, and relationship is so important. That's why we need to know each of these steps to get up to that transformational level. And as you said, it's all spelled out in the book, The Art of Commercial Conversations. How can our listeners get a copy of that?
It's on Amazon. They can feel free to jump on Amazon. I do have a free webinar coming up. If any of your listeners want to jump on that, that will be based on, I guess, around the mindset and the DNA set of salespeople to get their head in the game.
How can they get on your webinar?
So they go to threeredfolders.com
Okay.
/masterclass.
/masterclass. Okay.
/masterclass.
And then there's a place there where you can sign up for it.
They can just sign up for that. So yeah.
I would encourage all of our listeners, go to threeredfolders.com /masterclass, and you might be able to attend a free webinar from that, and go to Amazon and look up The Art of Commercial Conversations. I know I'm going to. I have not read your book yet. I usually try to make a point to read books before I interview, but I've not had the chance to read your book yet. I have to confess that. But I'm very excited to do it. I'm very, very excited to do it. I think our minds really resonate. This psychology stuff is very intriguing to me. And you know what? It's very intriguing to most people listening.
It is, and it is the baseline for success. You know, we know that 80% of any success is what's going on up here, and 20% is the mechanics. And yet too many people, you know, they just focus so much on the mechanics.
Yeah.
When money is all part of this. I mean, that's all in the book as well. So huge.
Excellent.
Huge.
Well, there you have it, my friends. The one and the only Bernadette McClelland. By the way, we have our Relationship Marketing Grand Summit coming up on September 9th and 10th. Originally, that was going to be a live event in Texas. It is now going to be a virtual event. And Bernadette, you are one of our featured speakers. We're super excited.
So super excited myself. I'm bummed I can't come over, but hey, that doesn't matter. The same content, you know, will provide value for your members and your salespeople, and we'll have fun.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're lined up with lots of world-class speakers and trainers on various subjects, all with the intent of helping us generate relationships in our life, better relationships in our life. And so we're super excited to have you as part of that faculty, and everybody look forward to, go see Bernadette on our website. Make sure you get a copy of her book, and join us on September 9th and 10th, because she'll be one on there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So
see you there.
Thank you, Bernadette. Appreciate you all. Thanks everybody
so
for listening in. Absolutely. Thanks everybody for listening in today, and please join us each and every week. Brand new episode of Relationship Marketing Podcast. We'll keep them coming. Let's just go out there and be kind to people. That's what this is all about. Take care, everybody.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast with Cody B, be sure to subscribe to the show and leave a review so that together we can get this message, The Power of Human Connection, out to the world. You can find Cody's new book, The Power of Human Connection, on Amazon or the Send Out Cards gift store.